So you would have had 20 bottom to top, so 20 and 2HD HDT minus 0, top to bottom, all over 20 squared. The 20s would reduce, so you just have a 1 over 20 at the end. But you could have also had 20 over 20 squared. That would have been right. Yeah. Totally fine. Just plugged and then boxed? Yeah. But don't forget your units, inches per second. Good. Good. Did you plug in a negative for your DHCT? Good. Yeah, it's perfect. Quotient rule is totally fine. Okay, kiddos, we could go over, you just saw that I pulled up AP Calculus AB free response, 2016. And there were years and years and years and years and years and years, and each one has 6 different FRQs, 12 to 15 minutes each. We could do this forever. We're not going to. I just wanted to have you guys have a quick FRQ that I remember them hating. The other one they hated this year was, nope, whatever one was an example. Nope. Water? I mean, they didn't love the water tank one. They were a little bit mad at that one. Was it number 6? I think it was the water tank. I think it was the water tank and the funnel. See, there weren't bananas or potatoes on this one. They couldn't get mad and do funny pictures that make everybody laugh. But the funnel one was the one they hated this year. Kiddos, I'm just drawing your attention to a couple things because some of you are going to be working on calculus over the weekend for the AP on Tuesday. I did put a few more things in your AP exam, advice, tips, review tools, just in case you're looking for things like summary of the 5 theorems. You have to know somebody compiled a list of 27 essential AP. There's a calc cheat sheet, how to survive, tips, how to justify, how to write this out. Things an old calculus teacher wish they would have told them. Hopefully I've told you all of them, about 3 decimal places, about never simplifying, about putting the units, etc. But you could definitely check that out. So there are some good things on here. I do have up real quick CalcAB, because if you search CalcAB AP Calculus, they do have practice. They're basically using FRQs, and they go through and talk it out, and they explain it, so they have you try it, and then you could actually listen to the explanation if that would help. That is possible. Khan also last year had a live study session for the AP Calculus exam. So if you search CalcAB and AP Calculus, this live study session would come up, and basically they let kids just send in questions of types of problems that they wanted to see, and they were talking it out. They didn't do one this year, but they did last year. It's available. But otherwise, it depends on the year. This year it seems that they're focusing on AP macroeconomics because they don't have a lot of tools for it. But let's go to your when you see you thinks. Let's go to your when you see you thinks. I want to see places that you guys, either blanks that you totally left or you weren't exactly sure what you were supposed to answer. There is this solution, the solutions up in that advice, tips, tools, etc. Oh, I did want to show you one other thing in your folder. Just in case you want some basic practice, which I think most of you should probably just get a practice exam and go for it, but just in case you want some basic practice, I did put up Calculus Problem Book Reviews. There's this huge book basically called the Calculus Problem Book. There are thousands of questions. Last year I kind of just separated them to the Derivatives and Applications Review, Integral and Applications Review, and Limits. Those are the 3 main topics of calculus. These are not even specifically bonus. It's just if you guys want some multiple choice on the basics of derivatives and applications, integrals and applications, or limits. And so I have the multiple choice questions, and at the end there are the answers. That's only if you want some basic multiple choice review that's very, very focused. Okay, and then when you see you things, any blanks you want to talk out? Nathan.
Okay.
Give me a letter and give me a number.
C9.
Sure, C9.
Notation was really weird, even though I know the equation of the data.
Okay. The idea of this one is almost always they tell you something about using local linearization, local linear approximation, or use a tangent line. If you want to put that down, that's the wording that you'll see. Use a tangent line to approximate, or local linear approximation, something with line in it, approximating in line. Then you want the tangent line. So they're not going to necessarily show you this notation. What they're going to say is use a tangent line at x equals c, for instance. They always use the word use, and then somehow there's a line in there. At x equals c. So if it says at x equals c, or we could even make it x equals a if that helps, then we would use our little f of a, we would use our x minus a, we would use our f prime of a. Everybody has a's everywhere. F of a, f prime of a, a. But then they ask you to use it to approximate f of, let's say, c. So they have something that's a little bit away from the original x value. So let's say instead f of c. So you have your tangent line, everything's all plugged in, everything's ready to go. You're missing a y and you're missing an x. As soon as they tell you to approximate, all of a sudden now you have the x. So you plug in that c value, and then you can say something to the effect of f of c is approximately y equals. You would just move this f of a to the other side and box it and be done. So this y value can be used to approximate the f of c value. F of c is approximately the y, move everything to one side. Just remember, the point where you have the at is what gets plugged in for the x1, the y1, and the m. You use that x for all of those. And then at the very, 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 very end, your tangent line is done, plug in your c. Now, one other quick word to the y's. Did anybody find on here where it talked about over or under approximations of tangent lines? Can you find me the letter for it? There are over under approximations of Riemann sums, and there are over and under approximations of tangent lines. D11? Perfect. If you have done a linear approximation or used a tangent line to approximate, how do you know over or under estimates? It's all about concavity. If I were you, don't do this on an FRQ, use your words, but if I were you, I would draw a picture of a concave up and a concave down. If you have a tangent line at a concave up, no matter where you draw the tangent line, it will always be an under, or it will always under approximate. If you have a concave down portion, wherever you put the tangent line, if it's on a concave down portion, it being the tangent line, you will always have an over approximation. It's all about concavity. So the picture will help you remember, oh yeah, that's right, oh yeah, that's right. But what you need to do mathematically is look at the sign of the second derivative, right? Look at the sign of the second derivative and use that in your wording and be like, oh, since f double prime is greater than 0, less than 0. Then the tangent line over or under approximates. That's all you need. You don't need to say anything else. The sign of the second derivative, which indicates concavity, is enough to tell you second derivative positive, aka original is concave up, tangent line is under. Second derivative negative, aka original is concave down, tangent line is over. What else do we got? D6 and D7.
Yeah, range.
Ranges are y values, right? So then if I were you, I would put in here something to the effect of, if it's asking for how high, how low. When would you need to know how high or how low something goes? Absolute extrema. Absolute extrema is a good time to figure out how high or how low something goes. So if you're looking on an open interval from negative infinity to infinity, basically, you want to think of relative extrema and you want to think of sign charts. They also bring in the horizontal asymptotes. Relative extrema, horizontal asymptotes, and I would say the increasing, decreasing sign charts. So the f prime sign chart. Because if you know where your relative extrema are and how high or how low they go, and if you know your sign chart, then you can at least get a feel for, and the horizontal asymptotes, you can get a feel for how high or how low the function goes. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now, if it's a closed interval, just test endpoints critical numbers, you're good. You'll have the highest, the lowest in there. Does that make sense? But if it's an open interval, we have to think about horizontal asymptotes and we have to think about sign charts. What else do we got? Yeah. Is that the water tank one?
The bottom of a solid is
Oh, bottom of a solid. I know some of you guys didn't like the very, 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 very last one. I think that was an in-out problem. 17? 13. Oh yeah, some of you guys didn't like that one. Yeah. If it says volume is increasing, dV dt equals a positive. Volume is decreasing, dV dt is a negative. Volume is changing. Just remember, whenever you have a quantity and there's some sort of change going on, changing at, increasing at, decreasing at, also always d dt of that quantity. Real quick, guys, what would the units be of this guy?
unit of volume
cubes
yeah.
per time, yeah. So feet cubed per second or gallons cubed per minute or whatever. This one, guys, this one, G15, a lot of you guys left blank. And I understand it was really confusing and very specific, but it was a lot like what we saw yesterday with the in-out problem. Some people saw it in 2013 about penguins being born and penguins dying. Some people saw it with the bananas being taken by customers or bananas being, put down by the worker. We saw it a few years ago, not a few years ago, but like as far as FRQs with a concert where people were going in and going out, or an amusement park. They love these in-out ones, but they can ask many different types of questions. So you have to remember, when we want to think about the overall rate of change, overall rate of the quantity present.
Rate in minus rate out.
Yeah. You want to do rate in minus rate out. Kiddos, my encouragement, use this weekend well. Not to kill yourselves, not to stay up all hours of the night and be totally dead for Monday, but use it well to study some. Sound good? Do you have things that you can do, that you can work on, that you should work on? Bye, guys. I'll see you later. If you have any questions about how to study this weekend, feel free to come by.
No offense, Misty, but
I'll be here and there.
I still don't know, like,
Up to you.
What?
What?
From the wall